What's going on? Mike Warren here with a deck tech from this Jeskai Mentor brew. It's basically Jeskai Delver, but I added some cheap spells, and we have Storm Chaser Mage and Monastery Swift Spear for like a prowessy type deck, because I'm going to play cards like Gut Shot because I feel like it's really well positioned in Fork Bolt. Fork Bolt and Gut Shot, there are a lot of one toughness creatures now in Modern. The company decks and like the Affinity and Infect. They're all really popular right now because of the Eldrazi deck. So it's also pretty good against the Mimics, but for the most part, I'm just kind of preying on the decks that are preying on the Eldrazi decks because people are moving away because they kind of see the writing on the wall that the Eldrazi decks are going to get banned. Um, this is just a tempo deck. There's no Vapor Snag in the deck, but I do have like a lot of just really cheap cards and fast threats, and basically you just want to stick a threat, get out in front, and this card can just take over a game almost from anywhere. Like not a lot of decks are playing Lightning Bolt, so when you just cast this against these non-Lightning Bolt decks, untap with it, you have like Manamorphose is pretty insane with it. Into like Serum Visions, Probe, Gut Shot, them actually a lot of times will do a bunch of damage with these prowess creatures out. Delver's just a good one drop. Been good in these type decks forever. We have 17 lands. I played 16, but that's a little bit too few. I do have like 4 Visions, 4 Probes, and Manamorphose to kind of cycle me into more lands. 1 Grim Lavamancer because it's great in the matchups where I think this deck's going to be great. I just want to kind of make sure I shore up all the. I don't want to lose matchups. I'm supposed to win. Eldrazi, I've actually been like 13-1 against Eldrazi with this deck randomly. I don't think it's a good matchup, but like if you can stick like 2 Monastery Swift Spears, a Delver, and then Gut Shot their guy, Path their Drowner, and then attack with a bunch of Mentor tokens, you can close the game out. The sideboard, I have a Shatterstorm for Affinity. This comes in against a lot of stuff. You have Worship, which I can't really beat. Some permission spells for the combo decks, Core Firewalker for the burn decks. We have Molten Rain I bring in against Eldrazi. I also have Hidetsugu's Second Right, which it's not great. It's not a good card, but if there's any deck for Hidetsugu's Second Right, it's this one. Just simply because I have like Gut Shots and Forked Bolts and like I can attack for like 1 or 2. Like a lot of times you can like if you draw Second Right in some of the matchups where you're not going to be favored. Sideboard then again in the hopeless matchups, and you can you have a lot of control over your opponent's life total with this deck. So I actually did think it was worth the slot in the sideboard just to have against the Eldrazi decks because sometimes they ping themselves a couple of times with Corrupted Crossroads or their Pain lands, and then you get in for like 6 or 7 damage, and then you have like they're at 13, you have like Bolt Second Right, and they tap out for a bunch of stuff, attack you. You bolt them down to 10, untap, and Second Right them. But I mean, it's just a fun card. I feel like Modern's kind of a joke right now because of the Eldrazi decks. You can still be successful in it, but it all kind of rotates around the Soul Lands and Thought Not Seer and whatnot. So I mean, if you're gonna play Modern right now, which I enjoy Modern, so I just want to play some stuff that's a little bit fun because I think Mentor's an insanely fun card. I think Delver of Secrets is an insanely fun card because of like the randomness of the flipping, unless you set it up with the visions or whatever. And a Sudden Shock, I guess I'll talk about that a little bit. It's obviously for the Infect matchups. I bring it in like against Affinity and stuff too, just because I mean sometimes just dealing 2 damage to a Ravager and they can't respond to it's really good. But anyways, that's the deck, and I'm gonna run it through an 8-man, and hopefully I don't lose in round 1.